Welcome. I am Eric Unfiltered. Here I discuss news, politics, and whatever else I find interesting, along with my very colorful, unfiltered commentary. If you would like to follow me on social media, I am on X at Eric Not Sorry, and on Truth or Facebook at Eric Unfiltered Podcast. I hope you enjoy. Now let's get on with the show. How's everybody out there doing today? I hope you are doing well. Genuinely, I do. I hope you're doing well. For me, I am caffeinated, medicated, and never regulated, so let's freaking go! Oh boy, this week has been chock full of some fun stuff, hasn't it? Or are you not aware? Well, let's start off with one of the big ones this past week that's been kind of embarrassing for the Trump administration. Kinda, sorta. The whole Epstein debacle. That has been the, at the forefront of many news outlets and has been raging, a raging inferno on social media because months ago, we were told, the public, all of us, the world, we were told that Pam Bondi has the Epstein files on her desk. And she just needs to go through it, and so on and so on. And then a bunch of political influencers were invited to the White House. Does anybody remember all of these people coming out, holding up binders, 3-ring binders, with, I forgot what was written on the cover, but that's beside the point. But they had all of this information that they couldn't release. It was a clown show. That was embarrassing and cringe. Epic cringe. Because nothing in those files was new. There was no new knowledge. It was all public knowledge, shit we already knew, flight logs and stuff like that. So, that was kind of embarrassing. Just a smidge embarrassing. Well, this past week, we were told there are no files. There is no Epstein list. To which I say, bullshit. And I'm not alone. There's a lot of people that say bullshit. There's a lot of rumors and a lot of conspiracies because, people are like, well, maybe he's still alive and he was shuffled out because he was an asset to the CIA or something like that. Plus, his sidekick there, Ghislaine Maxwell, her dad was, in counterintelligence and intelligence and stuff like that. So it's like, all right, plausible, but I don't know, man. Really? I don't know. And then, of course, there are the rumors of, there are names of high-profile people, CEOs and princes and so on and so forth. And if their names got out, financial institutions would crumble and blah, blah. I'm like, I don't care. Me personally, I don't care. If there is genuinely a list of people that were doing some unsavory things, like, trafficking people for sex, or underaged girls, maybe even boys for sex, I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're a Republican or a Democrat or a king or a queen or a prince. I don't care. CEO, I don't give a shit. If there are people, and if their name is on a list, and there is evidence to prove that they did some of those unsavory things that many of us suspect happened on Epstein's Island. I forgot the actual name of the island. I don't care. I don't care who's on that list. If there is evidence, I want those people to fucking swing, if you know what I mean. I don't care who they are, what companies they're in charge of. I don't care. But yes, this past week we were told, there's no there. There's nothing. And a lot of people were like, the fuck there isn't. And I've heard and read on the socials that a lot of Democrats are saying, Trump doesn't want the names coming out because his name is on the list and this and that. Time out, folks. Time out. Pump the brakes, pull your head out of your ass, and let's use a little common sense. So over the last how many years have the Democrats and the like attacked President Trump, even when he wasn't president? They went after him with a bunch of bullshit, and Teflon Don walked away pretty much unscathed. Now, there was a couple of things, which, again, I know is complete bullshit, was the whole E. Jean Carroll thing where he was found guilty of, sexual assault or something like that? Time out. Has anybody seen what this bitch looks like? She's a dog, bro. Like, she fell out of the ugly tree and hit her face on every branch on the way down and landed fucking hard. She is homely as shit. President Trump has been banging dimes for decades. Do you honestly think he would have? No, dude, no. Nope, so it was all politically motivated. Of course it was. Now, you don't have to agree with me. That is fine. You can think that there was some there in that situation. I think it's bullshit, personally. And then they had, he's a felon. Bullshit. The whole felony crap was basically, I forgot all the details. I'm going off of memory here, but I believe it was like ledgers with, banking stuff. It was all financial shit. All of those supposed crimes technically are misdemeanors. However, somehow, magically, they became felonies, which, yeah, that smells like shit, like bullshit. And okay, whatever. Maybe some numbers did get crossed or what have you, as if it's the first time in history that's ever happened. But banking institutions and so on and other people that were involved with whatever was in those documents, because again, I'm going off memory and I don't remember a whole lot. I just remember it was bullshit. Those people said that they didn't have a problem with their dealings. They made their money. Their loans were paid back, so on and so forth. They were not the ones going, yeah, there's a problem here. They were like, no, there isn't. There's no problem here. We're good. But again, somehow, magically, misdemeanors became felonies. Okay, fine, whatever. Again, more bullshit. So, to those that believe that there is an Epstein client list, and the reason why it's not being released is because Donald Trump is on it, do you honestly think over the last 4 years, when the Democrats controlled the White House and so on, that they wouldn't have released it? Of course they would have. If it wasn't the Biden administration, the Harris campaign would have leaked it. I mean, shit. When Roe versus Wade was overturned, it was leaked before it was made official, before there was an official ruling by the Supreme Court. That information got leaked. Of course, nobody knows who did that. Interesting. So do you honestly think if Donald Trump's name is on this Epstein list and there is evidence that he was doing unsavory shit, do you honestly think that the Biden administration or the Harris campaign would not have released it? Use your fucking head, idiot. Well, it shows that Trump was on Epstein's plane like 5 times. Yeah, and it also shows that Bill Clinton was on his plane like 27 times. So do you really want to go there? And we all know, without the shadow of a doubt, how much he likes them young girls. Monica Lewinsky. Okay? So, again, do I think Bill Clinton was doing unsavory things? Yes, I do. However, I don't have any proof. Just like you can say, well, I think Donald Trump did some unsavory things. Okay, but you don't have any proof either. So basically, it's kind of a, it's not exactly a nothing burger, but it's a, what's on that burger kind of thing. Because we don't have any evidence. But again, if you think the list is not being released because Donald Trump is on there and there's evidence of him doing some not so kosher things, yeah, that shit would have been released years ago and he would have been in jail years ago. Come on, people. Use your fucking head. So apparently Because, again, this has been all week now, because a lot of people were pushing back like bullshit. Like, I know Tim Pool was talking about it. A lot of people were talking about it. Like, really? Months ago, Pam, you said that you had the documents, and now we're being told there isn't any. Really? Huh. Interesting. And then I forgot which Democrat it was this past week, put forth a motion or a bill or something like that to bring it to the floor to unseal, to bring a vote to unseal those documents and so on and so forth. And the Republicans won the vote with a no vote. Now, people, again, were jumping all over. See, the Republicans are protecting Trump, blah, blah, blah. Time out. Time out. There was also another thing involved there, which was, I believe, for the Democrats to take control of the floor. That is also what was voted on all at once. That was also what was voted no to no, not allow the Democrats control of the floor. Why? I don't know. All this shit goes over my head. Have you ever tuned in and watched some of the shit that goes on in in Congress? It is mind-numbingly boring and so slow and stupid. Golf is more stimulating to watch. And I like playing golf, but watching it, not so much. So you can look into that and go, well, they're just Okay. Again, if you think people are trying to protect President Donald Trump, then why was the information not released years ago? If there was something there, they would have. You know this, man. Come on. Use your fucking head. But me personally, do I think there is a list? Yes, I think there is. Because otherwise, why would Ghislaine Maxwell be in prison right now? Who was she trafficking, and to whom was she trafficking them to? Why is she in prison then? Obviously, there was some sort of evidence there, which, of course, was never released to the public, which is bullshit, in my opinion. So there's got to be information somewhere, or maybe someone destroyed it, because that stuff happens too, right? You turn a blind eye and you destroy documents. I don't know. But I just think it's really embarrassing that months ago we're told there's documents, and then we're told, no, there's not. And then I believe on Friday the 18th, I know Friday was the 18th, but I think on that day, Donald Trump put forth, basically said, release everything you got. I don't care who's got it. Release the shit. Now, whether that will come to fruition, I don't know. I have no idea. If there is it similar to the stuff we already know that's already public knowledge? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. All I know is, in my opinion, look, there are wealthy people all around the world that do some really weird, fucked up shit because they can. Because they're bored. They bought all of the toys. They're bored. And they do some weird stuff. I mean, did he freak out baby oil parties? I mean, come on, folks. That shit's fucking weird. That's just weird. Some of these wealthy people do some weird fucking shit. Stuff, you could give me $100 billion and I would not be wanting to do any of that crap. That's just fucking weird. Really fucking weird. So, I don't know. I personally think that there is a ledger somewhere with names and codes. I am sure that there was some not so good things being done to minors. That's just my opinion. I don't have any evidence. But will we ever know? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But if there is a list and there's evidence and so on and so forth, I want it released. I want everyone involved to answer for what they did. But that's just me. What's your opinion on this? Do you think there is a list of names and what they did? Do you believe that there are videos and video evidence of people and what they did? I think so. I think there is. I would like to to know it. I don't necessarily want to see it because if, underage people were getting harmed, I don't want to watch that. I just want the culprits to pay and pay dearly. So what's your thoughts before I move on? You could let me know. You can comment on X and Facebook, or you can send me a DM maybe, or an email. Let me know. What are your thoughts on that? All right, I think I'll wrap up the Epstein thing there and move on to the next topic for the day. All right, this past week I saw on the news locally here in Connecticut, people, when school buses stop and the red lights are flashing, what are you doing driving by the bus anyway? I already covered, I can't remember how many months ago, I forget what town, it was Bridgeport, I want to say, was putting cameras on school buses for the next school year. Well, there are videos still, right now, of people driving right past school buses when they're at a full stop and all the red flashy lights are going. Bro, what are you doing? You moron. Of course, I don't know how many of those people, aren't here legally. Interesting. Maybe. Or people are just assholes. Look, as I said in that episode, I get it. When you are on your way to work or getting home from work and all you want to do is just get home, kick off your shoes, set the girls free, if you know what I mean, and you want to take a shower and relax, I get it. When you get stuck behind a bus, it's a pain in the ass. I get it. There are things you can do to mitigate it, at least in the morning. Leave sooner. Get up earlier. Go to bed sooner the night before. There's things you can do. Find alternate routes. And maybe you can't. I don't know. But if a school bus is stopped and the lights are on and the fucking dick is sticking out of the front of the bus, you're not supposed to drive past the fucking bus, morons. So if you see these people, get their plate and report them. If you have video cameras in your own cars, bring the videos to the officials and so on and so forth. Get these people in trouble, because what are you fucking doing? Because I don't have any kids, but I know that young kids don't exactly pay attention to where they're running when they get off the bus. I mean, hell, when they're just playing out in the yard or in a field, they're not paying attention. But I have seen many times where kids get off the school bus, they see their parent across the street or their friend, and they just run. They just book across the street. Well, if you are driving down the road and you ignore that, you could plow into a 7-year-old, dude. What are you doing? Slow down. Slow your roll. The bus isn't going to be there forever. And yes, I know, like I said, it's a pain in the ass, especially when the bus pulls up every 150 feet and stops and lets off 2 kids. Yes, I get it. It's annoying. But, bro, we're all looking to get to our destination. Let's all try to get there in one fucking piece. Don't be an idiot caught doing this and getting fined and fucking points on your license because you're an asshole. Dude, what the fuck? I do have more stories from Connecticut, and but I think I'll wrap that one up. Just when you see a school bus and it's stopped, fucking stop. Really. Unbelievable. Okay, another big topic, if you are not paying attention, here in Connecticut, is the use of diquat in waterways to combat an invasive plant species known as hydrilla. I know I have spoken about this the last 2 times, and I want to talk about it again, because the mainstream media really isn't talking about it. And when they do, they're basically just covering what some officials are saying, oh, this is just a nothing burger. We've done it before, or people are spreading misinformation. Yeah, okay. I did a simple search on the web, and you're full of shit. I mean, it's not the 1950s, people, where there's 3 channels on TV. You can do your own research. These people are fucking idiots. These officials that are like, oh, it's no big deal. Yeah, okay. do a search, bro. So this past week, I was listening to Reese on the radio. Shout out to Reese. And he was talking about something. I believe Texas has done this. I believe it was Texas. I know I've got a thing up on AI I will be reading momentarily. But I believe it was Texas was doing an alternative to chemicals. Because there apparently are alternatives to combat hydrilla that have been effective, and they're not chemical-based. They're not chemicals that can be harmful to you and me, to our waterways, to the fish, other plants, and other animals. Yeah, I know, crazy, right? That's why, and I know the first time I spoke about this, my comment was follow the money. Because I am curious, and I am sure that there is money exchanging hands to combat hydrilla with diquat. That's just my assumption. I don't have any evidence. I'm just talking out my ass, right? But come on. No, really, we got to go right to chemicals. Really? No. Okay, so I did a quick search after listening to Reese, and one of the thing he mentioned is on this list. I know, crazy. So all I did, I went to AI. I did a search. I wish our state and local leaders would do this. If they tune in, hey, this is what I did. I searched what successful alternatives to the use of chemicals have been used by states or countries to combat hydrilla. And holy shit, there was stuff. There's information. Knowledge. Knowledge is power. Wow, I'm already more powerful than our state and local leaders because they clearly didn't fucking do their research. All right, hydrilla is a highly invasive aquatic plant that poses significant challenges to water bodies worldwide. While chemical herbicides like fluoride, endothol, and diquat are commonly used to control hydrilla, several non-chemical alternatives have been successfully implemented by states and countries to manage this invasive species. These methods focus on biological, mechanical, and physical controls, as well as prevention strategies. Below are blah, blah, blah. So, this is one of the things that Reese Hopkins mentioned in his show this past week. It's called a grass carp. Grass carp, it's an herbivore fish, so it ate plants, is highly effective at consuming hydrilla, which is one of their preferred plants. Stocking rates typically range from 7 to 15 fish per surface acre, depending on the extent of the infestation. In the United States, particularly in Texas, grass carp are used to prevent reproduction and ecological disruption, requiring permits from local authorities, blah, 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 blah. Now, what they do is these fish are sterilized, and then they are put in the bodies of water. So these fish are not going to reproduce and therefore cause harm by eating too much stuff. I believe on Reese on the radio, he played a couple of videos. Again, it was just audio because I was in my car, stuck in fucking traffic because why wouldn't I be? It's Connecticut. And the first video or audio I heard, it sounded like, I don't remember what year. We'll say it was 5 years ago. Okay, I'm just pulling it out of my butt. They put a large quantity, very large quantity of these fish in a certain body of water or several bodies of water or whatever. And over time they realized, whoop, we fucked up. We put too much in there. Now these things are starting to eat stuff we don't want them to eat. So we screwed up on that. Whoops. So they learned. And moving forward, they said, okay, we're not going to put in, 100,000 fish. We'll just put in a few hundred fish or whatever. They dialed it in. Keep in mind, these are fish. They are not adding chemicals. It's just a fish that will eventually die off because they cannot reproduce. And you eventually, yes, you will have to buy more fish, put them in the waters, and so on and so forth. Wow. What a concept. Let's not put fluoride in the water. Let's not put diquat or some other shitty, nasty-ass chemical in water to kill a fucking invasive plant. Wow, crazy. There is another thing, insect-based biological control. Research has explored insects like the leaf mining fly and the weevil as potential biological control agents. These insects target hydrilla specifically, reducing its growth. However, results have been mixed, with limited large-scale success reported to date. But again, it's not a chemical. It's an insect. Now, again, I also don't know, like, what's the life cycle of these things? If they, will they just die out in a short time? I don't know. But again, it's a non-chemical way of combating this plant. Why can't we look into that? Oh, no. Actually, no, I believe someone said this past week that they're going to be doing research into finding alternative ways. Yeah, okay. Let's piss away more money. I can only imagine how much is it going to cost. Bro, I did this search on my fucking phone. Come on, people. We don't... Come on. Okay, mechanical ways. Mechanical harvesting. Boat harvesters operating at 1 to 2 miles per hour can remove more than 1 acre of hydrilla per hour. This method is preferred in areas like domestic water supply intakes or fast-flowing channels where herbicides are impractical. In Florida, mechanical harvesting has been used to clear hydrilla from navigation channels, removing biomass and reducing nutrient loads in lakes. Wow, crazy. Successful example in California, mechanical harvesting combined with other methods contributed to hydrilla eradication in 20 out of 29 affected water bodies by 2010. Now, again, what are the other methods? I don't know. Maybe they were using chemicals. I don't know. But in 2010, California was using these boat harvesters. Okay? There's alternatives to using this disgusting chemical. Unbelievable. And then, yes, it's got hand pulling and diver removal, which in shallow reading's hard, shallow water bodies, trained divers can manually remove hydrilla, including roots and tubers, tubular dude, to prevent regrowth. Now, obviously, hands-on, that's obviously very slow, maybe for small, tiny bodies of water. I'm sure it would take days to weeks, I am sure. But again, it's not chemicals. So there are several different ways to combat hydrilla without using some disgusting chemical that could harm everything. Crazy. I know. I'm a moron, folks. All I did was do a search on the fucking internet. And I already know more than what the people in the state of Connecticut are telling its people. Where's our governor on this? Crickets. I haven't heard him talk about this. I haven't heard anybody talk about this. They want this to go away so fast, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Because people are pissed. People find out, wait, you want to put what kind of chemical into our waterways? How is that going to affect the air, birds, fish, turtles, other wildlife? It's safe and effective. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if you would like to know more about hydrilla, do some research. Tune in here. Tune in to Reese Hopkins Monday through Friday on WTIC 1080 AM radio or Reese on the radio.com. From 2 to 6 p.m. But do your research. Hell, even Chris Webby, our homegrown fucking independent rap artist, he's still posting about it. Because, again, who else is talking about it? Channel 3, 38? What are you guys doing? Oh, wait, that's right. They're not journalists. They're just reporters, and they're just reporting what they are told to say. Because journalism, ultimately, unless a journalist is an independent journalist, journalism is fucking dead. That's what it is. They just read what's on the teleprompter, and they move on. Nobody wants to dig into this. Nobody wants to dig into this other than people like myself and Reese and Chris Webby, Mark from West Hartford, and other local people that are just curious about what the fuck is going on. What do you want to put in our waterways? Really? Interesting. It's interesting to me. Not really. It's not really interesting to me that our local officials and state officials are mum primarily on this, and they just want it to go away. It doesn't surprise me. But I want diquat to go away. I assume hydrilla is a big problem. Well, could we not go to the nuclear option? Can we maybe find a different way to combat this plant? Perhaps. That would be nice. I would prefer that. That's just me. All right, I'm going to wrap that segment up there. Oh, I have another topic from Connecticut. Oh, it's been a banner week for our little shithole, isn't it? Yeah. All right. So, this past Monday, I believe it was, let me do a quick lookup to make sure I get the date correct. So, recently, on July 10th of 2025, I remember that day, I was heading to work that morning, and it was raining. And I remember seeing road flares and flashing red and blue lights because the left lane was, flooded, and there was a car facing east in the northbound lane. Somebody clearly lost control of their car, probably hydroplaned. I'm not saying that they were speeding, because you can hydroplane even going slow. But later on that day, I heard a news report of an accident at that scene. And I was like, huh. Now, the reports that I heard on not only local radio, which I'm surprised, but definitely not surprised by the reports on local TV, but I heard some other information that they weren't mentioning. They were not mentioning it. So I brought up the search, and I'm going to read this. And, yeah. Okay. You'll know why I'm bringing this up. So on July 10th, 2025, an 18-year-old driver, Joel Alexander Kaka Nishvi, I don't know. I'm fucking up his last name because I don't care. I don't respect him. Was involved in a crash on Interstate I-91 in Enfield, Connecticut that injured 2 state troopers. Matthew, I think it's Siri, and Christopher Genovese. Those were the 2 troopers. The incident occurred around 7 a.m. Between exits 47W and 48. The driver allegedly he's an illegal. An illegal. Because Connecticut is a sanctuary shithole. From Ecuador, was speeding, driving without a license, without car insurance, and in an unregistered vehicle. He lost control after driving through standing water. Yeah, because he was fucking speeding. Not paying attention, clearly. Spun across 3 lanes. Clearly was going a little fast for the road conditions. And struck a parked state police vehicle, which then hit another police vehicle. Trooper Genovese, and again, I apologize to the troopers if I'm mispronouncing your last names, that is not on purpose. The other driver, the 18-year-old, yeah, fuck that guy. But if I'm mispronouncing the troopers' last names, I apologize. That is not my intention. But Trooper Genovese sustained serious injuries. I believe he broke his leg. I believe that's the report I heard. While Trooper Siri had minor injuries. The driver was also hospitalized. The driver was charged with reckless driving and operating a vehicle without a license. His initial $100,000 bond was reduced to $500. Are you fucking kidding me? We have an illegal driving a car that's unregistered with no insurance, no license. He has a $100,000 bond reduced to $500? Are you fucking serious? Are you serious, Connecticut? We deserve better. Where is our governor? Has he made a comment on this? Pfft, nope. Where's Dick? Where's Smurfy? Where are those? Have they made? Nope. Not a peep. Not a peep about an illegal that nearly killed 2 Connecticut State Troopers. Interesting. Deport them all. But that's just my opinion, and I'm an asshole. Fine. Whatever. Really, Connecticut, we fucking deserve better. What if he killed those 2 cops? What if he did? I'm glad he didn't. But what if he did? What if he killed somebody else? What? Really? We've got a fucking epidemic of stupidity in this state. Why are we a sanctuary state? Why? This is bullshit. Our leaders do not care about us. They do not. They care more about an illegal than you and me. And it doesn't matter what letter is next to your name when you go vote. It doesn't matter. None of them, at least those in power, or those that have power, care. They don't care. They care about illegals more than you and me. They do. Evidently. $100,000 bond to $500. And again, I've noticed, at least on the TV stations, and I heard yesterday in a report on the radio, I never heard that he was an illegal. Not one peep. Interesting. Fucking bullshit. It's embarrassing. Connecticut is a fucking embarrassment. The people that run it are embarrassing. They're trash. They're garbage. The next election, vote. Go out and vote. Do your research. Do your research on who is running, what they're running for, and get involved and have your voice heard on Election Day. Make sure that the pieces of shit that are currently in power, not pushing against this, get out. And make sure that the people you vote for aren't going to continue the same shit. Because that's just the definition of insanity. I know it's not, but we've all heard the phrase. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Hell, there's one person that's already put their name in the hat to run for governor against Lamont, who has not, as far as I know, has not said that he's running for another term. God, I hope he doesn't. He's a piece of shit. But the person, I don't know their name. All I know is they are even more left of Lamont. So if you think the state is in shambles, going in the wrong direction, then don't vote for the asshole that's already put his name in the hat for the Democrat side, because he's left of Lamont. He wants ultimately, more commie bullshit. We deserve fucking better. Aren't you tired of every week you get your paycheck and you look at it and you go, wow, Connecticut took a lot of fucking money from me. Well, that guy wants more. Oh, again, I don't remember his name, but one of the things he did say is he wants to increase the taxes on the millionaires, because that's what they always say. But you know what happens, though, folks? Like me, I'm sure many of you cannot afford to leave this shithole state. But millionaires can, and that's usually what happens when taxes go super high on the super rich, those evil, evil millionaires. They leave. They say, nope, I'm taking my money and my toys, and I'm out. Peace, bitches. And then what do? Well, the budget isn't going to balance, that's for sure. And then guess what? The taxes have to go up on you and me because the wealthy people left. And you got the retards that'll be blaming the millionaires. Oh, they left. They did this because... Shut the fuck up. Because if you had the money, you would be doing the same fucking thing. Dumbass. So get involved, folks. We deserve better. So be careful when you're out there driving, because you can't assume that the dildo in the car next to you, the one that's riding your ass while you're going down the highway at 75 miles an hour, you can't assume that they have insurance or that they're even here legally. You can't assume that. And if you get into a wreck with one of these fucks, guess what? You're screwed. Your interest rates will go up because you want your car fixed, or you need to replace it because it's been totaled. Well, you're not getting money out of them. So guess what? You have to call your insurance company, and you will be left holding the bag. That's bullshit. That is a problem. And the fact that the court systems in this state favor illegals over you and me, that's a goddamn problem. Shit needs to change, otherwise Connecticut's just going to be as bad as New York and California. We're going in a bad direction, people, a real bad direction. All right, I think I'll wrap up that segment, move on to something else. All right, I have a few more topics. I have a few more topics today than I have in the last few episodes. So if you've made it this far, continue listening. Thank you for tuning in, by the way. Okay, just the other day, we learned that President Trump went and saw a doctor, and it was announced because people were speculating that about his health, because there was some bruising, I guess, on the back of his hand, which is, indicative of having an IV, and apparently he has some vein issue. I don't know the specific term, but he had some swelling in his legs, which usually I believe is poor circulation, stuff like that, which is common for someone that's up there in the years, which President Trump is, and people that are husky, a little overweight, which President Trump is. He does like McDonald's and Coca-Cola, or I think Diet Cokes, right? I don't remember which one. But yes, so we, the people, learned about some health information regarding our president. Well, why do I bring that up? Because, I don't care about that, personally. The reason why I brought it up was because we were told. Well, the last president, mashed potato brains, everyone with an IQ of more than 4 knew that there was something up. Yeah. He was known to be Mr. 10 to 4. Like he wasn't, coherent before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m. I mean, yeah. We all know that Biden's brain is mush and getting mushier by the day. He clearly has some cognitive deficiencies. Well, yeah. Well, this past, on July 9th, I have an AI, another AI search here. So, we have all long suspected that Joe Biden had some cognitive decline, but yet we were gaslit by everybody. Hell, even was it the press secretary there, fucking dipshit mophead, was talking about, he is sharp as a tack. We have a hard time keeping up with him. No, you probably do, sweetheart, because you're a fucking moron. But if you have a hard time keeping up with Joe Biden, what are you doing? Are you shitting your pants? Because so is he. And if he's ahead of you, you're an idiot. So, I hope you laughed at that. Anyways, so on this search, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, former White House physician to President Joe Biden, invoked his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination during a closed-door deposition with the House Oversight Committee on July 9th, 2025. The committee, led by Chairman James Comer, Republican of Kentucky, was investigating allegations of a cover-up regarding Biden's mental acuity and health during his presidency, as well as the use of an auto pen for signing executive actions. Yes, the auto pen has been a bone of contention this past week. O'Connor refused to answer questions, including whether he was ever instructed to lie about Biden's health or if he believed Biden was unfit to serve, citing both the Fifth Amendment and physician-patient privilege. His deposition lasted approximately 20 minutes, with O'Connor only confirming his name before invoking his rights for all other questions. Wow, dude. Really? Really? You plead the Fifth on whether you were instructed to lie about Biden's health? Now, I can understand if this doctor wanted to invoke basically the HIPAA law and not get into the weeds with Joe Biden's health, but you can't answer yes or no if you were asked to lie? That's a little bit sus, bro. Just saying. O'Connor's legal team argued that the committee's broad investigatory scope risked violating physician-patient confidentiality. Yeah, I know I fumbled that. I don't care. Moving on. Which could lead to civil liability or revocation of his medical license. They also noted a concurrent Department of Justice investigation into Biden's mental acuity and auto pen use, ordered by President Trump as a reason for invoking the Fifth, emphasizing that this did not imply guilt. You couldn't have said yes or no if you were asked to lie? Really, dude? You couldn't have been like, yeah, no, I was not asked to lie, and then pled the Fifth on everything else, which would still be a little sus, but you pled the Fifth on whether you were asked to lie? Bro, come on. I was born at night, but not last night, dude. Something. Oh, man. Oh, there's flies in this pile of bullshit. Unbelievable. It was obvious. Anyone that has ever had the not happy experience of dealing with someone with dementia or Alzheimer's could see the signs with Joe Biden. Again, I am not a fan of Joe Biden, but nor do I wish him ill will. I've stated that in previous episodes, but it was obvious this man is suffering from something that's affecting the gray glob in between his ears. It's not a secret. Watch him speak. And it was his entire presidency. And it only got worse. And now his doctor said, I plead the Fifth. I'm not answering that. I plead the Fifth. Really, dude? Really? Yeah, this is a big old heaping pile of bullshit. We all know Joe Biden's brain was not firing. He wasn't banging on all cylinders. So, yeah, so that happened. Unbelievable. All right, moving on to the next topic. Yes, there's more. Okay, now this is a big one, folks. This is a big one. Well, why didn't you lead with this? Because you always save the best for last. Duh. Okay. I have an AI search here, which of course I will be reading about, but go with me. Do you remember? I remember. Back in 2016, when President Trump won his first term, and we heard all this information, this hearsay, this misinformation, or whatever you want to call it, about how Russia interfered with our elections. And that is the only reason that Donald Trump was elected. Do you remember? Because I remember, and Pepperidge Farms remembers. Now, I said back then that's bullshit. Now, I do agree with certain people. I know Tim Pool has brought this up as well as others about, bots and bot farms on social media, usually like in China or Russia or other areas like Belarus. They use bots to go on social media, and they literally spam the same message. You'll have 100 different accounts, and their comments are verbatim the same as the other account. People have said that is a way of interfering, or at least putting ideas in people's heads, making people doubt or people second thoughts. However, we were told, not just by Obama and the Obama administration, there were others. I know Hillary Clinton made comments, and other prominent Democrats made comments that Russia directly interfered with our election process. I remember that's when they started beating the drum of, free and fair elections and so on and so forth. Well, a bombshell dropped on July 18th, 2025. This is the synopsis that I got on Grok AI. Tulsi Gabbard serving as the U.S. Director of National Intelligence. Pause right there. If you don't know who Tulsi Gabbard is, look her up. She is a former Democrat. I don't think she is a Republican. I don't believe so, but she did leave the Democrat Party because she, although she is a military veteran, she is anti-war. And when she has had interviews several times with Joe Rogan, and spoke about how the reason why she left the Democrat Party is because they have lost their fucking minds. They know the party no longer stands for what she stands for, which is why she joined the party in the first place. So you have a former Democrat, Tulsi Gabbard, as the United States Director of National Intelligence in the Trump administration. Okay, unpausing. Moving forward, released a report alleging, again, allegedly, got to protect yourself, alleging that officials in the Obama administration manipulated intelligence to create a narrative of Russian interference in the 2016 United States presidential election. What? Can you say treasonous? Sounds awfully insurrection-y to me. Gabbard claimed this was part of a treasonous conspiracy to undermine Donald Trump's 2016 victory over Hillary Clinton. The report, supported by declassified documents, asserted that pre-election intelligence assessments indicated Russia was probably not trying to influence the elections through cyber attacks, and a December 2016 draft brief for President Obama stated that Russian cyber activities did not impact election results. However, Gabbard alleges that after a December 9th, 2016 National Security Council meeting, Obama officials, including James Clapper, John Brennan, and Susan Rice, pushed a narrative claiming Russian interference, relying partly on the discredited Steele dossier. Gabbard stated she was referring these documents to the Department of Justice for further investigation and potential criminal prosecution. What the what? What? Dude, I am fully aware that there have been people in Washington, D.C. that have done some pretty gnarly crap. Like the false flag that got us into the Vietnam War. And the bullshit that got us into the Iraq War. And other crap that got us into the 20 years in Afghanistan. We know, we are all familiar with people doing bullshit to do bullshit. But we had our own president talking about Russia collusion when he knew there wasn't any. But they pushed it anyways. What the fuck? What the fuck? Does anybody remember the investigation? I remember the investigation with the Mueller report. I forgot how long it took, but it was like it cost us, you and me, it cost us, the United States taxpayer, not just Republicans or Democrats, or all of us, it cost us over $30 million. I can't remember the exact number, but I know it was over $30 million to investigate this shit, and they found nothing. They found nothing because there was nothing there. And they already knew it. They already knew. But they did this bullshit investigation. Anyways, they pissed away our money and just dragged the president through the mud, whether you like Donald Trump or not. This is the main point, people, especially if you don't like Donald Trump. If you don't like President Trump, this is the point for you. How would you feel if the Trump administration did the same thing for over 3 years after losing to Biden? Now, yes, I know there was a lot of people that said the 2020 election was bullshit. I definitely think there was some not so savory smelling stuff that went on then too. I don't have any proof, but could you imagine what would be said, especially in the media, the mainstream media? If you don't hate the media, if you think you hate the media, you don't hate them enough. But could you imagine if over $30 million of our money was spent trying to find some sort of collusion that between Russia and Biden, when we already knew it was bullshit from day one? How would that make you feel? And I'm talking even all the elections going forward, 2028, so on and so on. If this is insane. This is absolutely insane. This should be the biggest story globally right now. Not just here in Connecticut, not just here in the United States, globally. The President of the United States and his staff and so on knew that there was no evidence of Russian interference in the 2016 election, but they pushed it anyways. What the fuck, dude? I knew Obama was a big, giant pile of shit, but there's proof right there. There's proof. I mean, there's other things I didn't like about him either. And again, I don't wish him any ill will. I just want him to, fuck off. And along with his, husband, Michael. Big Mike. Big Mike. Mike. What in the world? This makes us, I mean, look, we're already kind of the laughing stock across the world, many countries, right? But dude, a sitting president at the time, and his staffers knew this was crap. They knew this was a nothing burger. There was no evidence, but they pushed it anyway. What in the world, bro? We are in a very sad state, and I'm not just talking Connecticut. Our country has a lot of fucking work to do. We, the people, deserve better. And it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are on or if you're straddling the middle. It doesn't matter. We all of us, deserve better from our elected officials. All of us. This is insane. Now, do I honestly believe that people will be arrested? No. No. Well, maybe 5% chance. Maybe. Do I think anybody will get convicted? Not a chance. No. Nothing will come of this. I hope I'm wrong. Because if this genuinely happened, as Tulsi states, and the Justice Department finds, that burning ember where the smoke is, and they blow on it and it ignites, which I hope, a part of me kind of hopes it doesn't, because that's just fucking embarrassing. But if there's smoke there and they can get it to turn into fire, I would love people to be arrested and tried and sent to prison. But it's not going to happen. They're too rich. They're too powerful. We all know. Nothing's going to happen. We know nothing is going to happen. We would love to see someone pay, but it ain't going to happen. Not going to happen. Well, I think I will wrap it up there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give it a like and share. Tell all of your friends and family, all that good stuff. Follow me on the socials, and thank you. Thank you for tuning in. I genuinely appreciate it. And until next time, keep being you.